Okay. So I want to start by kind of you just introducing yourself and what you do for Softeon.
Okay, my name is Justin Andreas. I am the Solution Delivery Director at Softeon. So I run teams that do our new standard implementations, any aftermarket initiatives for current clients, big projects, SOW related work, and make sure those are seen through to completion, and then continue to work on future strategic initiatives and planning with those clients as well.
Perfect. So next question might seem kind of silly, but what did you find the solution specialist course yourself, or did someone instruct you to take it? And I'm assuming you have people under you. So I guess
Mhm.
did those people under you also take the course?
Yeah, so I was one of the first to look at it.
Hmm.
So I did a trial run and just looked at it and got a look and feel of the overall process um, in the beginning, and then I kind of stopped, right? Life
Yeah,
got in the way,
totally.
work got in the way. And then when the course kind of picked up steam, we internally had an initiative for everybody to do it. So not only myself, because I don't believe in I believe that I should lead from the front and do it as well. So I did it with the people that work for me, and we all did it together. So
Yeah, awesome. I think that's one of the best things about it, right? And we know that sometimes the course is not going to be a user's priority at the moment. So being
mhm,
able to start it, kind of do whatever they need to do, and then come back to it. And if they need to rewatch videos, they can rewatch videos, whatever that may be. So
mhm.
no problem not getting it done all in one jump. That rarely does happen, but there definitely are some go-getters out there who will do it in like 24 hours. So um,
I don't know how, but okay,
I don't know how either. They must be in between projects or something. But
maybe.
yeah. So was there anything about the course? And I know you left feedback and we are so appreciative of that. And that's kind of one of the reasons why you were called in to do this. But was there anything about the course that you found just to be extremely valuable, or maybe something that I'm I'm not going to say that you don't know, but anything that you were like, "Oh, I didn't really know you could do that," or maybe something that you would say, "Oh, one of my team members might not have known that." So this course really helped them learn something new potentially.
So one of the first things I'll say is, the coursework was pretty fantastic in regards of how it was broken up, right? It
Mhm.
was small bits. When you think about the how robust Softeon is as a system, right? And to be truthfully honest, you guys probably could do a level two, level three, right? To
Totally.
even get further into the configurations and the detailed work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But for the first like full course, it was great because and one of the selling points you have is you can always go back and look, right? If you don't have to remember it. One of the downfalls of like conference room training or somebody comes in and trains you on site is a lot of the information leaves. Like there's statistics out there, there's studies. Some will say 20% of the information leaves the second that trainer walks out the door, or
Absolutely.
30%, right? And it depends on how long the training sessions are. Here, it's user driven, and I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And there were things, and I've been in the system for over a decade, and there were things I was like, oh, I did
Yeah.
not realize we could do that in that
Yeah.
screen, right?
Totally.
So and I said that to the people that work for me, I was like, if I'm sitting back and going, oh, there's some use here, and I've been in it for 10 years, you as a user for 2 years, it's going to do you some good, right?
Yeah. That's so
So,
awesome.
yep.
Um, yeah, and we don't expect to hear an answer like that from people who have been in it for 10 plus years like you have, but I think there's always going to be little things, whether it be one simple button or one screen that you were like, I've never actually used that before, but now I saw it and I know how to do it. And I think hearing that, doing the level 2 and level 3 course is definitely beneficial. And we would love to do something like that for sure. Because you're right, there's always going to be people out there that are in more maybe of a director position and need to, or even like your warehouse managers out there that need to know every single little configuration point. And that's, something that we could offer definitely. Um, just a few more questions. So how would you say that this training, and I know we talked about doing training in the like in person, and I totally agree with you on that. I personally used to do training for face to face with people, and while it was great for me, I don't really feel like the users adapted a lot of the information. And, they would be trying to scribble notes while I was trying to show them how to do it. And I think doing some sort of online is so much better for some people, for some people. But how would this training compare to any other WMS or technical courses that you've taken online? And maybe you haven't taken any others online, but maybe in your past life, you don't have to name any names or anything like that. But if you've taken any courses before in the past, how would you compare?
So I'm going to kind of give that answer more on a general training level than
Totally. And
like,
that's fine.
so I was in the military. So I did a
Mhm.
lot of training in the military. I was the trainee and the trainer, at different points in my career. So one of the things the military kind of did differently than a lot of like, technical space can do is muscle memory, right? So you can't build muscle memory in a conference room, right? You can't do that. And that is how a lot of people learn, right? They have to be able to apply it pretty quickly. Otherwise, it's kind of a use it or lose it type situation, right? Unfortunately, in the WMS space, that becomes very difficult sometimes because initiatives are, they're technically built, but the physical is not yet there. Where this space, this training mechanism, and where I really, really like it is I can still have that training available and have it side by side with my screens
Right.
when that time comes. I can be like, you know what? I don't necessarily remember how to set up a location. Let me go back to location
Oh, Tom and
training.
I do that on a daily basis. We'll still pull up the video and be like,
So,
what screen did we show them how to do that?
yeah, so there's that's the huge benefit as you're trying to build maturity in it in our WMS. The the screens allow that maturity to have a base level, right? The training does that. There is a baseline, and it's our standard product. Now there could be deviations as always in the space, but when you have that baseline functionality and knowledge base, that changes everything, right? And they can go back to it, and they can continue to go back to it. They can benchmark certain things and then realize, oh man, I can really use this over here now. And that does a lot of things for us as a WMS company. It levels out our support needs, it levels out our implementation needs. It does a lot of different things for us as a group. So it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, last question. Um, if you had a customer that you were maybe working on an implementation and you were at one of your customers' warehouses or whatever the situation may be, you've got somebody coming to you saying, hey, do you guys offer any sort of training? What are just some key points that you would say to convince them, like, this is worth the investment. It's worth, it's maybe it's the speed of the course. Like your users can technically do it within a day if they really wanted to. Or maybe it's the, this quality is unmatched. Like, I don't know. What are some of your like salesy tactics you would say to somebody who's on the fence about enrolling their guys or
So,
users in the course?
just so happens that I'm a big proponent of your guys' platform already.
Hmm.
So this is pretty easy for me.
Yeah.
Um, the
And we thank
biggest
you for that.
takeaway, the biggest takeaway I generally have is the ability to go back, right? For the users, it's an investment in your staff first of all, right? It shows that you're investing in their ability to be a key player with the system. The other thing it does is it allows them always a reference to go back to, right? One of the talking points I had with the client was, I went back and I looked and I said, how many times have you paid for people to come out and train you because of, this, that, or indifferent? And he was like, yeah, that's a good point. I was like, and that knowledge just kind of dwindles away over time, and SOPs get lost or whatever it might be. I was like, this is there. I was like, if you have a couple users in your company that aren't going anywhere, you've invested in them already. This is another key investment for success. And that was kind of what put them over right there. It was like they can go back to it. And the specific user I had in mind, did the training, was like, this is great. It really helped him. I mean, and he was a knowledgeable user already, but it was a good baseline. As Softeon has transitioned from kind of a customer-centered approach to every implementation was unique to a product-first company, with customer satisfaction still number one priority, of course, but it provides that baseline for every single implementation, every single training session, which means training at the client level becomes easier, right? Because they don't have to train different things for different warehouses and stuff like that. So it just becomes easier over time, and it sells itself once you start putting those things out there, because they're like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. They don't have to, they don't even have to send their own people around, right? Because if you really think about it in the big scheme of things, the cost of travel and all that other stuff to get somebody that is a SME out to another warehouse to train initially is expensive, right? And it's not cheap. And, like we discussed earlier, X% is lost the second that resource leaves. With this, that doesn't happen. So I generally key on those things when I'm talking about the product, and leveraging it for not for necessarily just for you guys, but for ours, our sake as well.
It's a partnership for a reason.
Yeah.
It takes two sides of it to really get the product out there. So yeah, well, thank you so much. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I enjoyed talking to you, enjoyed getting to meet you face to face. I feel like, I always wonder when people like see me in a call or something, they're always, it's like a news anchor, like you see him on the TV and then maybe you see him in person, you're like, oh, like it's just kind of funny, So anyway, I really appreciate your time, and we'll probably chat again in the future. I won't bug you again for another review, but have you taken the data specialist course yet or no? I
The
saw
data
you were enrolled.
specialist, I'm enrolled, but I haven't. I actually had it up. I think I've had it up probably 4 times in the last 2 months, and I went to I went to start it, and then a client issue or excuse me, a client call last minute came up or something along those lines, and kind of went off. But it's on my to-do list. I did the label designer one.
So we ended up getting rid of the label one and put it into the data specialist course. So that's kind of combined. So if you, so you could skip through that if you don't. I mean, you'll probably want the badge though. So you can just watch it again if you want to.
Okay.
But so we combined those, but no big deal at all. Just kind of curious if you had any feedback from that one, but it's not the purpose of this call was the solution specialist. So no big deal.
I have received feedback from a couple people in my team who have taken it and they liked it.
Okay, good. So. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your week, and
you too.
Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.